Studies Section 10. Discrimination. Introduction. Though it has been earlier stated that prejudice, stereotype, and discrimination go hand in hand, there are also obvious distinguishing peculiarities. This has warranted a detailed explanation of each of these concepts. Therefore, this lecture will reveal the obvious difficulty inherent in individual discovery of discrimination, how the target perceives it, its consequences, and how it can be reduced. Learning Outcome in Studies Section 10. Learning Outcome 1.10. Define and use correctly some of the key words printed in bold. Learning Outcome 2.10. Define the concept discrimination. Learning Outcome 3.10. Mention and explain 4 ways of reducing discrimination. Content. Despite the prevalence of discrimination, one of the greatest barriers to its removal is, strangely enough, the difficulty people have in detecting it at the individual level. The question is, why is this so? Firstly, individuals cannot serve as their own control group and test whether they would have received better treatment as a member of more privileged groups. Frisk, 1998. Secondly, discrimination is easier to detect with aggregated evidence than single cases. This is because single cases can be easily explained away. Cosby, 1984. Lastly, individuals may deny discrimination to avoid feelings that they are being maltreated by others or that they do not have control over their situation. Rogerio and Taylor, 1997. Due to these reasons, women and minority groups are more likely to perceive discrimination against their group than against themselves personally. Crosby, 1984, Taylor, Wright and Porter, 1994. Targets, perspectives of discrimination. Considering the target, women, minority members, or other targets of discrimination has yielded much information on the psychological and health consequences of exposure to prejudice and discrimination. Clark, Anderson, Clark, and Williams, 1999. For example, the discrimination black people experience in America is associated with self-reported ill health, lower psychological well-being, and the number of bad days away from work during the previous month. Williams, Yu, Jackson, and Anderson, 1997. Some studies also found that the blood pressure of black people rises when they are under stereotype threat or are exposed to racist incidents or attitudes, according to Blaskovich, Spencer, Quinn, and Steele, 2001, McNally, 1995. Reducing discrimination. In reducing discrimination, just as in some other situations, empathy has a practical advantage of being relatively easy to apply. To become more empathic towards targets of discrimination means having consideration for them by asking certain questions like, how would I feel in that situation? How are they feeling right now? Or why are they behaving that way? Role-playing methods has also been used to practice responding effectively to prejudiced comments. Pliers, 2000. Another way of reducing discrimination and prejudice is to establish laws, regulations, and social norms mandating fair treatment. Oskamp, 2001. A longer-lasting reduction in discrimination is possible when people are made aware of inconsistencies in their values, attitudes, and behaviors. When people consider that their values, attitudes, and behaviors were inconsistent with the ideal social equality, they show significantly greater support for civil rights more than a year later. In conclusion, it is noteworthy that as homostereotypes, an animal predisposed to prejudice, stereotyping, and discrimination, one must also possess the capacity to overcome these biases if motivated to do so. It often takes deliberate effort and awareness to reduce prejudice and discrimination, and with sufficient motivation, it can be done. Blair, 2003, Fisk, 2000, Monteith and Voiles, 2001. Questions. All are ways of reducing discrimination except dash. A. Establishment of laws, regulations, and social norms mandating fair treatment. B. To become more empathic towards targets of discrimination. C. Awareness of inconsistencies in one's values, attitudes, and behavior. D. Greater support for civil rights. The correct answer was D. A. Reason. The answer was D because greater support for civil rights does not reduce discrimination. E. Options A, B, and C were not correct because in order to reduce discriminations, there is need to become more empathic towards target of discrimination, create awareness of inconsistencies in one's values, attitudes, and behaviors, and establishment of laws, regulations, and social norms mandating fair treatment. Summary. The basic difficulty in removing discrimination is because of the difficulty in dictating it at the individual level. This was based on the fact that discrimination often has both psychological and health consequences on the targets. Women and other minority groups often consider themselves as targets of discrimination. In other words, to reduce discrimination, empathy plays a major role. How would I feel in that situation? Laws, regulations, and social norms mandating fair treatment can also reduce discrimination. Reducing discrimination is possible when people are made aware that their values, attitudes, and behavior are inconsistent with ideal social equality. In all, deliberate effort must be made to motivate individuals towards reducing discrimination. This is the end of Studies Section 10. Thanks for listening.